Yo, what's going on, you guys? It's your boy 3 Stacks in this thing, baby, representing Team Kings of Games. And today I'm coming at you guys with an update for ZEFRA. It's one of my favorite decks, like ever. It's one of the coolest Pendulum decks, one of the most unique, and has a awkwardly high ceiling, but not easy to grasp at first. It's kind of difficult learning it, but once you get the hang of it, you'll just fall in love with this deck, I believe. Like, this deck is really strong. I think that it's one of the most competitive Pendulum decks, and also is a Pendulum deck that has the flexibility to main deck certain cards that other Pendulum decks just have a hard time playing. And it also has access to a completely different arsenal that also other Pendulum decks just don't actually get to play. For the most part, just the ability alone to search any monster in the game is just like very slept on. I think like Oracle stacking a monster and drawing it is really powerful. Whether it's searching a hand trap, whether it's getting access to Sky Stag so that you can use Crocodile and Stites or Croco Dragon and Sky Stag to go in a VFD, or if you just like need access to like an Ash or anything like that. It's just a really powerful play. Like, this deck is really strong. I think it's one of the best Pendulum decks when it comes to versatility, the ability to grind. When it comes to going second, this deck can have a hard time breaking through gigantic boards with multiple negates. That's why I really main deck the cards that I main deck. And I also have several cards that are really good for baiting negates before you get started, which is really cool. So let's go ahead and get into the list, because there's also a new combo. I know that Jet Synchron and O-Line is banned, and I used to play Synchro ZEFRAs with Hyqui Fibrax and Auradon going into like Jet, Synchron, and O-Line, and basically putting out Borlo, Savage, and Arclight. I found a new combo that you can do where you don't have to main deck, literally, you don't main deck any bricks at all. I think this combo is better, so like Jet Synchron and O-Line being banned force people to be more creative. Which it sounds bad when you say force them, but we didn't have a choice but to get more creative. And I found a way to set up the boards that I normally make, whether you're doing like, I don't know, VFD. If you're doing like VFD plus Borlo, Savage, Arclight, and Counter Trap, I don't think any deck can really beat that. Like, not that I really know of. I mean, I'm sure there's a way, but like triple OMNI negate plus VFD is just way too strong. Or if you're just doing standard Borlo, Savage, Arclight, Counter Trap, Hand Trap, that's still really strong. And you don't have to play any bricks in your main deck to get to that combo. So let's get into the list. For hand traps, I played 3 Ash. Gamma's the best hand trap in this deck, and it just has a level of versatility that's really important. It's also the reason why you could do the combo. So it's amazing that Gamma is not only what it is, and it not only baits negates, helps you combo, like if your opponent Ashes, Providence, or negates Oracle, or if you activate ZEFRA and then negate his effect in the scale, or that Ghost Ogre, you can punch him with Gamma. But also he's a combo piece, like naturally. He's a tuner to get access to Hulk, and he's also the target that I summon off of Hulk. Unless you want to use Hulk to summon out Ash Blossom to like have access to like if you Gamma your opponent and you're just using the summon out Hulk to get out like Ash because you want to go into the VFD play like Crocodon, you know, Sky Stag, you would use Ash and the ZEFRA Neo via Oracle to do that play to go in a VFD. So like if your opponent tries to hand trap you and you have Gamma, you can combo through the hand trap and also set up a VFD because they hand trapped you, which is really cool. So like Ash and Gamma have very unique properties in this deck. They do more than just what they look like on pen and paper, long story short. And then I also played 3 Imperms. Just a hand trap that doesn't play into talents is really important. I know it's not as high impact, but it's like it's very similar to Gamma in the sense that you can draw it going second and you can actually activate it. But any other hand trap outside of Imperm and Gamma, and like maybe Ghost Ogre, every other hand trap you can't really do that with them to like bait negates or break boards. So Gamma, Imperm, and Ogre are probably more versatile just because you can actually use them on your turn, even if your opponent already set up their board. And then past the 9, I play one more. Number 10 is Nibiru. I main deck the 1 because your standard combo to search ZEFRA without doing any ZEFRA cards is just Mageline by herself. You just normal her, get pet, special it, go into Gallant Granite, search for your Anger Translator. But because you do have literally 3, 6, 7, 10 ways to access him already inherently, you do have a high probability of drawing him. He's pretty much, because this is a 50 card deck, he's pretty much he makes up 1/5 of your deck when you think about it. Sometimes you just draw into a way to get to him. So when you do, That's where Gallant Granite can search out either ZEFRA Core. That's why I still play him, because he's a rock target. So that way Gallant Granite can give me a scale or a level 4 if I'm trying to go into Dweller, or if I just need something to make Hulk with. Because also with Hulk, you can't use ZEFRA Neo unless you have 2 ZEFRA Neos, because you need one of the ZEFRA Neos for the combo. I'll talk about it since I can't really show it, because I would have to switch over to Edo Pro, and I'm pretty sure Edo Pro is the reason why my audio quality has been so staticky. So I don't think moving forward that I'm going to be using Edo Pro anymore for videos. I don't really like it. And plus, Dueling Book gets better players anyways, and I like playing against good players. I'm not really too big on like freebies. So like if you don't need ZEFRA Core or ZEFRA, the Anger Translator, that's why I play the one of Nibiru, because you can search it. You can still set up Hulk, you can still do True King of all Calamities, Savage, Arc-Light, Counter Trap, but having a Nibiru that you searched in the process is pretty overpowered, because like you have to really think, like your opponent can't break through a board like that without summoning 5 times that I would know of. Like even if they droplets you and for some reason they droplets sitting a trap and you can't use counter trap to negate, they would have to send the monster from their field because of Arclight. And then after basically throwing like 1, 2, matter of fact, they couldn't even do it because you would VFD and standby. So never mind, they can't droplets you and they can't Dark Ruler. I was over here talking about something that's not even possible, because I always VFD and standby when I have a counter trap and multiple negates. Who cares about Emperor? So never mind, there's no way to stop it. So I don't even know I was going to get there. But basically, like, it's so OP because you have triple Omni Negate VFD, which beats, like, almost every single deck. It's really hard for any deck to already play around VFD. But now, because they can't attack over Arclight because of VFD stopping them from a declaring attack with the monsters that become the attribute he calls, they have to bait Arclight the hard way, and they have to play under him, his Floodgate effect. And also, they have to still deal with Savage and the counter trap, and you have Nib in hand. Just pick up your cards and go to game 2. So yeah, the 10 hand traps, for like 1 card starters, this deck has quite a few. So like Dragon Shrine and Foolish are 1 card starters, Terraforming Oracle and Providence are 1 card starters, and then Mageline is a 1 card starter, which is really good. So you have like 3, 6, 9, 10, 11, 14 1-card starters that can get you access to vital cards for your engine so you can combo off. Hard Drawing Pet doesn't suck because you just need a level 4 at that point. And whenever like you have Ash, because Ash is the only hand trap that goes to grave. If you notice, like the rest of them, like Gamma banishes itself, Imperm's not a monster. Ash is like the only card that turns off the pet. So if you Ash your opponent, then you would just Mageline for another Mageline at that point. And all you would be doing is just having a self-replacing body to make rank 4s with. And then besides the hand traps and the tech cards, if you guys didn't already know what I'm doing with Sky Stack, I am stacking it on top of my deck with the effect of Oracle, one of the most broken field spells in the game. It actually has, I have to drag it over here so that way it will keep it on this screen right here. It has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 effects, and if you read its sequencing, it basically so it says once per turn per effect. So not only does it have 5 effects, not to say I can use all 5, because not in this build I don't ritual summon, but I do have the potential to do some of the effects, is the fact that you can use all 5 in 1 turn, that the potential's there. This is how you search Max C back in the day, but now you're using it to stack Sky Stack and draw it off of Croca Dragon. So like those are all techs. I do play Windy. Windy is really crucial for the grind. Also, with Windy and Anger Translator, that's the same utility that Electromite had outside of drawing. So you literally, with Zephyrs, you can send any Zephyr monster. The only monsters you want to send to your extra deck literally are Zephyrs anyways. You don't want to send Dark Worm. You can access them different ways. So you can basically do what Electromite does, send any Zephyr from your extra deck to your extra deck face up, and then add it off of Windy. That's everything that Electromite does minus the draw. So when you really think about it, even though Electromite's banned, ZEFRA is probably the only Pendulum deck that still has the same utility. That's why I used to say all the time in my ZEFRA profiles, the Electromite is not necessary. It's icing on the cake. That's why I played like 2 of them at one point. I went to 3 when I went for a more turbo build. And my Zephyrs, you know, as you guys have seen, my Zephyr decks have changed so much over the years. I went from like heavy combo to even heavier combo to a mid-range control build, which I have now is like an in-between. That's why it's like mid-range. I mean, like you combo, you have crazy boards, but you still have the mid-range play style where like you don't need a lot of cards to combo, which is really good. So you have room for hand traps, because like Like pure like pendulums that don't play hand traps can lose really hard to Infernobles and Dragon Links because they hand loop you for 2, sometimes 3 in Infernoble, and then they'll still set up multiple Omni Negates. And for pendulums to lose already 2 cards that they pretty much get to pick because they see your hand and they take it, and then to be up against multiple negates, it's not very easy. That's why I like that pendulums, that my variant of pendulums can play hand traps, because like those decks you have to respect the fact that they won't care about you opening like an insane hand because they're gonna take the best cards out of your hand anyways. Like if you open like just bonkers, they're still gonna tear it apart, and like it's really hard. I mean, if pendulums go first and they don't get hand trapped, then maybe. But because also Dragon Link and Infernoble play hand traps, even Dinos play hand traps, it's really hard. So I feel like if you're gonna play pendulums competitive without getting your cards absolutely taken away from you by Smoke Grenade, cards like Aqua Dolphin and Chaos Dragon Levianeer, you've got to find some kind of way to stop your opponent from doing that, and how else are you going to do it without hand traps? So, I know that some people are just really adamant on certain variants, but the fact that this ZEFRA is a particular pendulum deck that can do that gives it an edge. Like, I'm not going to knock that Endymion Scale Effect can literally destroy probably 5 cards on field, but it's very low probability that that happens against the best decks, because if they see anything that can get there, they're going to take it, and they won't even have to worry about negating it. And pendulums, like, it's just a really hard time. So, like, having hand traps is really important, and having the utility that Electromite basically we lost when he got banned also gives ZEFRA's the ceiling that I feel like pendulum decks need to have to be competitive. Triple Dubin. So Dubin is one of your ways to outboards going second, because like the thing with going against pendulum decks is you have to have only spell negates if you want to stop them from pendulum summoning. And as long as this deck can pendulum summon, or just omni negates in general, or spell negates, because as long as this deck can pendulum summon, you can chain block with Dubin and pop a card. Which is really a cool interaction, like being able to pop a card, chain blocking with ZEFRA. And also, if you chain block with ZEFRA and Dubin, like if you mask their effects with a card like ZEFRA Core, ZEFRA Saiton, or ZEFRA Windy, or Zefraxia, you have a lot of ways to do it. You can also search ZEFRA War, play it from your hand, and pop 2 cards when you're going second. Then you can go into your Hulk combo, and instead of going into like Warlord Savage Arclight, you can just link climb all the way up into Access Code and OTK. So like, don't sleep on this deck thinking that it can't go second, because it can. And then Core is really busted, especially because I do play a few rank 4s. When you scale your ZEFRAs, like when you have Dubin and Anger Translator, it's really nice because you'll pendulum summon Core chain block with him, so that whatever can be ashed, just ash. If they hand trap ZEFRA Core, you don't care because it's just an extra rank 4 that's just icing on the cake. You use him to summon the ZEFRA Dubin in front of your pendulum zone, and that's pretty much an almost free Abyss Dweller right there, or you know, whatever you want. But honestly, I just chose Dweller because I cut some cards, and I think Dweller is the best rank 4. Saiton pops any set cards, which is extremely relevant. It can even pop set monsters. Dark Worm and Gate 0 is just really important for this deck, because like when you have Dark Worm and the cards that access him, it turns your hands into like 2-card combos where you normally would have like 3-card combos, if that makes sense. Because like Dark Worm gets a body on field and a low scale, so you really have to think Dragon Shrine plus a level 4 is going to search out Gate 0 and Anger Translator off 2 cards, and you have a Gallant Granite plus complete scales, which is really powerful. Even Dragon Shrine plus like the Mageline play is also extremely powerful, like extremely powerful, because you get like a +3 off of that play right there. So Dark Worm is really good, too strong in this deck. Triple Anger Translator, I think, is the best pendulum scale in the game, just in the terms of the versatility for pendulum summoning, because he's very similar to Wisdom Eye, but better, because he also can load your extra deck with different cards. Wisdom Eye only pops itself, which means you only get Wisdom Eye to pendulum summon, but he can change his scale just like Wisdom Eye, except he also can send whatever you're missing, which is really cool. If you have ZEFRA, then you just send something else. If you already have a high scale, you make him a low scale. That's why ZEFRA plus any other pendulum monster can allow you to pendulum summon, because he changes his scale accordingly every turn. He's very powerful. Triple ZEFRA, this is the lifeblood of the deck. You have so many good searchers in this deck, like a lot. It's really strong. Another cool thing with Gamma is if people do have Droll, they have to Droll on resolution, because that's just how people do it. They don't want you to get second search. So that means like any one of your power plays, like Terraforming, Oracle Providence, or Zephyr Providence, Like you can gamma on the resolution, like when they droll you. If they droll you when you have monsters, obviously it's not gonna be possible. But I will say, if they droll you when you had monsters, that more than likely means you didn't activate Oracle or Providence because they would have drolled you then. So that also means that you already got to resolve ZEFRA Neo more than likely. And once he resolves, because you want to play around droll, you don't go ZEFRA Neo for Providence anymore. You go ZEFRA Neo straight for Counter Trap. That's how you play around droll when you already have them. Because you don't always hard draw like the cards that search your searchers. Sometimes you will just literally hard draw the cards like the targets. So like this card also plays around droll just by drawing it. So like yeah, it's really really crucial to just have that information for certain matchups and like for competitive knowledge. 3 ZEFRAXIS, he gives you tuner access if you don't even have a tuner. He's really strong. And then 3 shrines and 1 foolish gives you like 4 ways to dump worm without normal summoning. So like as you see, I play a pretty decent amount of level 4s. I play 6, 7, 8. 9, 10, 11, 12, and Dragon Shrine or Foolish plus any one of the 12 level 4s. Actually, 3, 6, 7. I play 19, 20 because Rhoda. So I have 20 ways to get access to a level 4 outside of Dragon Shrine. So pretty much if you open Dragon Shrine or Foolish plus any one of those 20 cards, you have a way to basically get a high scale and a low scale and get ZEFRA Neo access. And something that's really crucial is if you already had Anger Translator, you're getting really free pluses because now you're searching Nibiru. And guess like what? Like if you think that it's possible for any combo deck without Red Reboot in their hand to play through Nibiru Counter Trap, you got another thing coming. You can literally wait for them to combo their entire hand, do everything they can, let them summon Savage, Arclight, every single card that they can possibly make, and then reveal Nibiru. They'll chain Gamma, I mean not Gamma, they'll chain Arclight or Savage, whatever OMNI negate they have, and you'll just flip Counter Trap, and Counter Traps can only be responded with another Counter Trap. So just Nibiru Counter Trap alone, even if you don't have like a strong hand and your hand's fragile and you just have Nibiru Counter Trap and you pass, that still bodies combo and you get a whole nother turn for free. And you can just pop the token, the Nibiru token with Thubin or War. So you can out the Nibiru token as well. And then Oracle, Busted Field Spell, so good, so broken, base negates. Rhoda, because like I play the Saiton and the Thubin, and this just gives me utility to search either or. That's why instead of playing 3 Saitons, I chose Rhoda as like the 3rd, but it can also be the 4th Thubin if that makes sense. So like that's why, and I think Thubin's better right now than Saiton, so I chose 3 Thubins. And then also the Terraforming, the 3 Providence. This card is just crazy. This card is so good. It's really broken with Path too. Because like Path is a really good floodgate. It turns off cards like Gamma. It turns off Nibiru. It turns off like a lot of relevant cards. And also against certain decks, like it's really really hard because you basically can only special summon. So what it literally says is neither player can special summon monsters except from the hand or extra deck. So that means all those Valkyrie Fibrax token generators from Dragon Link down to Infernoble, down to even dinosaurs. Like dinosaurs can't resolve babies. They can't use Oviraptor to summon from grave. They can't resolve Mist to special from deck. They literally can only special summon Conductor from hand. For Dragon Links and Infernoble, it's really really hard for them to do their plays because you can't summon from deck. That means you can't resolve Isolde, you can't resolve Linkross, you can't resolve Valkyrie Fibrax, you can't resolve, unless you're summoning, if you drew the card, you can summon it from hand off Hulk, so I won't say that. And you can't resolve Aradon. For Dragon Links, they can't resolve LP unless it's from hand. They can't resolve Pisty. They can't resolve a lot of cards. Like they can't do like a lot of stuff. They can't summon from grave. That turns off a lot of their extenders. This card's so good. And the reason why I talked about it is because it already, if you read Path, it protects itself from targeting. So if you read the text of it, it basically says, after all you read that, while you have a card, any card in your Pilum Zone, this card cannot be targeted by card effects. That means Cyclone doesn't work against it. And that also means that your opponent has to Lightning Storm. But guess what? Providence protects it from Lightning Storm. So your opponent won't be able to out this because not only will you have counter traps to negate the cards that out it anyways, which counter traps are really hard to like negate because you need a reboot in hand, but also, and reboots at 1, but also Providence protects you. So like Lightning Storm, Evenly, Cyclone, Pankratops, all the cards that would out Path, you can protect it. So like this card's really broken. Like when you already have access to ZEFRA, you just summon ZEFRA Neo, get your counter trap, and you just activate Providence to search for your ZEFRA Path. I already talked about Imperm, and I play one of each of the traps. 9 Pillar is the most powerful because it negates and shuffles. That's better than negating and destroying, but it's also one of the most situational to set up. These are easier to turn on, but this is the strongest one. And then for siding, 3 lightning, 3 evenly. And then I side one of each more. Since I don't play Nightmare Griffin anymore, it comes up a lot for me where I want more of my traps. Like, you guys would be surprised that you don't just burn through one of each and then just win the duel. You still end up needing them. So I like siding these when I know I'm going first. And since I know I'm going first, certain hand traps just like come out. Certain cards like Imperm, since it's definitely not really like a live combo piece, it's more for like, the hand traps are not for going first. This deck is pretty good going first already, so you can side out hand traps for more ZEFRA cards. So when I go first, I side in Path and the other ZEFRA traps, and what I'll do is I'll normally probably take out the Imperms, and I can afford to take out like an Ash. I leave in Gammas for protection, and you just leave in the one Nibiru so that you can always search it off Gallant Granite, like the utility. And this also, again, it turns off Nibiru too, because Nibiru summons like a Nibiru token. And then I play 2 more Nibirus, so like, after siding, I have triple Nib, triple Ash, triple Imperm, triple Gamma for combo, and then I have Lightning Storm evenly for combo. Pankratops is broken, Reboot, and Feather Duster. I might consider teching in like a 1 of Lancia and a 1 of Droll, just for when I go first, because I can stack both Lancia or Droll on top of my deck and draw it off of the Crocodon play. That also is like super duper vital for the decks that Droll and Lancia is good against, because I can search it with any of my combos, which like, you know, I know VFD is sometimes better, but just having that option, I don't know, I'm still testing. But for the extra, I play Vortex, Meteor Burst, because like basically Zefraxy plus level 4 ZEFRA, or even like Ash plus a level 4 like goes into Meteor Burst. Meteor Burst summons the gate 0, you go into Absolute, and you link that off, and you bring out Vortex, which is an Omni negate. You have Dweller, you also have Gallant Granite to search Nibiru, ZEFRA Core, or Anger Translator. You have 3 different targets. Absolute for the Vortex, VFD broken, access code over Boral Sword because it's way easier to make and it's easier to use in this deck. Lambda, Lambda's here so that if you like have combo but you have Gamma in hand and you don't use it, you can still Gamma them. And what you do is when you do the Lambda, when you're trying to play around Nibiru, if you don't have ZEFRA Path, obviously, because you can't even Gamma with Path anyways, what you do is when you Gamma them, you will actually link off the Cypher driver and the Lambda into like anything else. Like if you're link climbing, you have to go for access code or something like that. But also just keep in mind, because driver is a level 6, you can do the combo where you basically use driver as your level 6, because you're just gonna synchro into Savage. So you'll just leave driver up, put him back in the grave by synchroing into Savage. That's another way. And what happens is you leave the Gamma. So on in phase, Gamma banishes itself, you trigger the Lambda, and you search a second copy of Gamma, and because driver's in your grave, you can Gamma your opponent again. That's a really cool interaction that a lot of people don't pay attention to when you play ZEFRAs. ZEFRA Metaltron, it's just, this card's so good in this deck. It recycles stuff too. Halki, Fibrax, and Link Cross. So instead of Hulk and Ardon, I'm doing Hulk and Link Cross plus Marcher, Arclight, and Savage. So how the combo works, since I'm not going to show it, I'll just explain it, because like I don't want to go to Edo Pro and go to test hands, because I feel like it's just going to jack my audio quality up. What I do is basically you just tuner access. Tuner access gets you Hulk. We all know that. What you use Hulk to summon is Gamma. You summon Gamma off Hulk. That's what I meant by Gamma's the counter. I mean, it's the hand trap. That's a combo piece, so you don't have to play any bricks. You don't need any bricks for this combo. You Hulk for Gamma. You go into Link Cross. And this only, like, because every time you Pilum summon, you have to get out Zephyr Neo. Like, that's how it works. So you have Zephyr Neo for this combo. So that's what I'm saying. You just Zephyr Neo, Tuner Access, etc. You Pilum summon Zephyr Neo, search your counter trap. It works even if you Gamma your opponent on your turn too. But basically, Zephyr Neo, search counter trap. Then you go into Hulk with other monsters in a tuner. You go into Link Cross after you summon Gamma off of the Hulk, and then you use Link Cross, bring out 2 tokens, use Gamma and 1 token to go into Marcher, use Marcher to bring back Gamma from grave, synchro with Marcher and the second token off Link Cross in the Arclight, and then use the Gamma that you brought back off of Marcher and the Zephyr Neo that you Pilum summoned to synchro into Savage, and that's how you get Savage Arclight counter trap. So you're doing the same combo. Not the same combo, but you're getting the same monsters out, Borlo, Savage, and Arclight, but you're not playing any bricks, no Jet Synchron, no O-Line, and you don't have to play Auradon. which is also really cool because you can still link summon after that play. So you can do this play and still link climb and the access code talker at the same time, which is really nice. So I think it's a better combo where you have to play any bricks. So like Jet Synchron and O-Line being banned forced me to be creative. And I'm not even exaggerating. I literally thought about this combo less than an hour ago while I was laying in my bed. It came like that fast, instantly, and I automatically put it in my deck. I was like, dude, this is crazy. Like, this is a really good combo. Now I can have the same thing I had with Synchro ZEFRAs, but I don't have to play lefty driver. I don't have to play righty driver. I don't have to play O-Lion. I don't have to play Jet. No bricks. 0 bricks. Same combo. Crazy, right? But that's the deck profile. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I consider myself a bit of a ZEFRA guru, if you know what I mean. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. Our Father which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, Lord Jesus. Thy kingdom come, and thy will be done on earth just as it is in heaven. Please give us this day our daily bread, Lord, and please forgive us of our debts as we forgive our debtors. Lead us not into temptation, Father, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the glory, and the power forever. In the mighty name of Jesus I pray. Hallelujah. Amen. Peace out, yo. Deuces.